Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the Q&A Teach in Spain webinar, where we're going to go over a little bit about everything. If you can't record or if you can't watch everything, we are going to send out the recording to you guys later on. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So meet our team. I'm Gabby. I'm one of the Teach Abroad coordinators. I did the program a few years back. And then Tess, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Tess. I'm one of the Teach Abroad advisors. It's nice to meet you all, and you probably will get lots of emails from Gabby and I if you have opened up an application or plan on opening one.
Hi, y'all. I'm Megan. I am a program assistant and I taught abroad in Madrid in 2022 and lived there until 2024. So I'm so excited for everybody.
Perfect. Thank you. So to kind of start it off for those that are here, we're kind of interested. So obviously we talked about we have a little bit of teach abroad experience. So we just want to know, have you been to Spain before? So if you want to throw that answer in there just to get a gauge of how many of us have been to Spain. Um, I know before I went, I had never been to Spain before, and now I'm completely obsessed with it.
Mhm.
Um, Perfect. Okay, we're seeing a lot of people actually have been to Spain. Um, I don't know if you guys can see that result, but there's about 64-36. Nice. Um, Amazing. And then, so Tess is going to kick it off with the eligibility requirements, and then we're going to walk through a whole bunch of fun stuff for you.
Perfect. And yeah, as Gabby said, there's like a question and answer section. So if we're going over anything you have questions on, just type it in there and we'll read through it as the presentation goes on. So basic eligibility for Teach in Spain is native level English fluency, bachelor's degree in any field, United States citizenship, under the age of 60, passport with 3+ empty pages, and you have not served as a language and culture assistant in previous years. So as long as you meet those minimum eligibility requirements, and you can start an application for our Teach in Spain program. Perfect. So here, I won't read through all of this, but we have some advice for future travelers and just some feedback on previous participants and kind of like their experience and what it felt like. But essentially, for Teach in Spain, you will have a job placement in the region of Madrid. Your teaching experience is going to look like 16 teaching hours per week. It'll be a 4-day work week, depending on what school you're placed at. A lot of schools will give you Mondays off, and then some schools will give you Fridays off. So just depending on your placement will determine that, but it is 4 days a week. And then you get €1,000 monthly stipend as part of the time you spend teaching. Everything that's included with your CIEE fee. So right now for fall 2026, the fee is $2,350, $2,350 for the Teach in Spain program. That gets you job placement in Madrid. We provide a lot of pre-departure assistance with comprehensive online pre-departure course, visa guidance. We are constantly answering questions on all of these things and text messages, any kind of questions you have for us, we're here to help you and walk you through that process because it can be confusing and stressful and all of that. International emergency insurance and Spanish health insurance are also included. Once you arrive in Spain, CIE has a Madrid office, and so you will have an on-site orientation with our Madrid team, which includes logistics and cultural activities. Guaranteed friends. One of the cool things is once you get accepted to the Teach in Spain program, we have a Facebook group that we invite you to be a part of. And so you'll get to join that and meet people before you go. And then, of course, once you arrive, you'll meet people at orientation as well. And then always our ongoing support from CIE staff in Spain. So Gabby and I are your support system before you get to Spain. And of course, we're still here for you once you get to Spain, but once you arrive in Spain, you'll communicate more with our CIE Madrid team. There is an option to include a 4-night hotel stay during orientation. That is an additional fee to the 2350. So it'd be an additional $300, and a lot of participants love to do that so they know kind of where they're staying and you're all staying in the same hotel. All right, so we have some pictures here of past participants' experiences. But what is the job? So you are referred to as a language and culture assistant. Basically, you'll work in a bilingual primary or secondary or vocational school. You'll assist in the classroom, so you're not the primary teacher, and it'll be a variety of subjects that you teach. So you're there to support the lead teachers and duties, and it'll really just vary from school to school and teacher to teacher as to what your responsibilities are.
Perfect. And another thing a lot of people ask, what is the lesson planning? What does that look like? And so, like Tess mentioned, you'll see a few photos of most teachers. Again, it'll ultimately depend on your school placement, but most teachers will be provided with lesson plans ahead of time or books where you can make super easy plans for you, actually, which is super convenient.
All right, and then program options. So you can either do the Teach in Spain regular program, which is just simply the Teach in Spain experience that I just went over in the previous slides, or we also have a Teach in Spain 3-week immersion program. So you will do the Teach in Spain program. You'll teach either from October to June, or if you sign up in the spring, you'll teach from January to June. But if you add that 3-week immersion program,
Did Tess freeze for you, Megan? Or am I the one frozen?
immersive Spanish class. The Spanish classes are all different levels, so you'll get tested on your Spanish level when you get there. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you just bounced back in. I think
Okay.
you bounced
I
out
don't know
for
what
maybe
you
five
heard. Yeah, it told
seconds.
me my connection was unstable, so I was like, uh-oh. But anyways, in case you didn't hear me, the 3-week immersion program, you'll stay with the host family for 3 weeks. You'll take immersive Spanish class during that 3 weeks, and we do test you on your Spanish speaking level. So you'll be put into a class based on what Spanish speaking skills you have. So if you're more beginner, it'll be a beginner class. If you're more advanced, it'll be an advanced class. That is a different program fee. So right now for fall 2026, that program fee is $3,900 as opposed to the $2,350. So it's an additional $1,550 to add the 3-week Spanish immersion program onto your application. And then you can also add a TEFL certificate course to any program. So you're not required to be TEFL certified for our Teach in Spain program here at CIEE, but it's a wonderful addition to your program and to your experience. Like Gabby just said, when it comes to teaching, obviously you're going to be writing lesson plans. And so a TEFL certificate helps with how to write the best lesson plan, how to teach in the classroom, and just the best approach to teaching English as a foreign language. So that's a great add on if you're interested in that.
Perfect. Thank you, Tess. I'll jump into a little bit more about immersion and TEFL later on as well. But as far as immersion, so like Tess said, you get to Spain early, you'll have time to settle down. Sometimes when people are staying with their host families, they have connections or they're able to help them with the housing process. Or ultimately, it gives you just a little bit more time setting up your life with your move to Spain. So, like she said, 3 to 4 hours of Spanish classes Monday through Friday before those 3 weeks. And again, you'll be tested. So you'll be in classes according to your level of Spanish before you go. Most meals are provided during that time. And ultimately, it's just a really awesome way to get immersed with not only a local family, but just the local community and start gaining those connections before you begin teaching later on in the fall. So, as far as placements go, so all of our placements, if you're accepted into the CIEE Teach in Spain program, all your placement will be in the region of Madrid. Now, it's important to note the center of Madrid is a high volume of preferences that people want. So be aware, most placements are outside the city center. If you submit your application early and you had submitted your commitment deposit super early, that's the order in which placement preferences are put in. So all schools, regardless though of placement, are accessible by public transportation. I think Tess and Megan can both speak to this. The public transportation in Spain, the Madrid Metro, is one of my favorite transportation services possible. I love it. There's so much to do on the metro, whether you're lesson planning on the way there, on the way back, on reading a million books. I know I don't think I read more than when I was living in Madrid just because of the metro. Um, so yeah, something to be aware of. And then, like I said, on your application, there's that placement preferences section. So you can make note of the specific area within the region of Madrid that maybe you'd like to be placed. Another preference you'll see on the application is the age group, things like that. Alrighty, and then housing. So prior to going to Spain, we're not going to be signing your leases. We're not going to be setting you up with apartment tours, but we will be providing a lot of housing resources, including the Facebook group. So a lot of people have already started this upcoming year, meeting other teachers that are going this upcoming Spain, and starting to make friends. A lot of people decide maybe they want to live with roommates during orientation week, and they start feeling out, oh, maybe we would be great roommates, or maybe we're looking in the same area. Like, let's both go to apartment tours together, which is super convenient. And then we take a survey each year to see what our participants are spending on housing each year. And so this past year, the average was 450 to 700 euros a month on rent in a shared apartment. Of course, if you're wanting to live alone in a studio in the center of Seoul, it's going to be more expensive than that. And then on average, again, this is another survey we take each year. It has taken about 2 to 3 weeks after arrival to find housing. So I know from my experience, I had orientation week, booked an Airbnb with a group of people I met during orientation. And then in that time frame, that second week, we hit the ground running, apartment hunted, looked a bunch, and then was able to find in our second week our housing. As far as the visa goes, so you will be getting a language assistant visa in order to live and teach in Spain. A visa is basically what is allowing you to work in Spain. So you must be aware, kind of have those spring summer plans flexible, because you will have to go in person to your consulate before going in the fall. And when you go in person, you have to submit your passport along with your application. So you must give them some time to review your application. Like that mentions on the slides, it can be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it can take a bit longer, a bit shorter. It really just depends on the consulate and the year, but we keep track of these things every year. And then we also host visa webinars quite frequently. We just had our first one this past month. So once you're committed to the program, we break down the complete visa process for you. We pretty much walk your hand through the entire process, letting you know all the documents that you need, and the timeline for when you need to be getting them. Alrighty, and then Tess brought up TEFL. So if you don't have any teaching experience, maybe if you have a little bit of teaching experience, then I would advise you to think about getting TEFL certified. So there are a couple different options. Our most popular is the 150-hour TEFL certificate, which as of right now, because if you are interested in going to teach abroad in the fall and you're wanting to get TEFL certified right now, you're eligible for a $300 discount when you apply in this month and next month. So within the next 2 months. Sorry, getting my timelines all crazy this season. But this is super beneficial. Like I mentioned, if you don't have a lot of teaching experience, just because, you're thrown into a new country, you're moving halfway across the world, potentially for most of us, and we want to make sure the teaching experience is comfortable for you. Even though you're moving to maybe a completely uncomfortable new setting, we want to make sure that when you're walking into that classroom, you're going to be having the confidence to be making those lessons plans, to be thinking of maybe having a lot of plans in your back pocket that you can pull out if something were to happen while you're in the classroom. Just thinking of extra activities. And then on the right-hand side, the 60-hour TEFL certificate is also very popular. It's more of an introductory TEFL course. Super ideal if maybe you're wanting to learn more about what TEFL is about and wanting to get a couple more highlights of the TEFL course, but maybe you are on the busier end leading up to going to Spain. And then this one you can start at any time. So the 150-hour TEFL course, there's about 2 course enrollments each month. And then for the 60-hour course, you can begin that at any time. If you have any questions about TEFL, feel free to reach out to us at TEFL@CIEE.org as well. Okay, and then what happens when you get to Spain? So arrival will be sometime in the fall, September or October, and then we'll have that in-person orientation like we mentioned with that optional hotel stay. During that time, you're going to be apartment hunting with your new best friends that you meet on the program, travel around, get to know the city, practice your commute. You'll be setting up your banking, working on that residency that we talked about. And like Tess mentioned, we're your support before you land. Once you're there, we have our on-site team that guides you through orientation, all of this fun stuff, getting that background, that Spanish background check. And then you will begin teaching in that fall as well. Okay, so what is next on your to-do list? Complete your application by March 1st, get TEFL certified, start budgeting, start saving. We recommend coming with at least $4,500 in savings just because you won't get paid until the end of your first month of teaching. So, if you're arriving in September, October, and then schools begin in October. So maybe you won't get your first stipend until the end of October or the first week of November. So come in with those savings that, you can be prepared for everything that you need to do once you land in Spain. And then once you've been accepted, we'll add you to that Facebook group. In the meantime, start learning Spanish. We love Duolingo. Download Duolingo. Get a little accustomed. It's not mandatory to know Spanish on the program, but it definitely makes your life easier while you're there. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we'll have these webinars for those who are committed to the program. We're going to have a Professional in Spain webinar, placement webinars, housing, insurance, pre-departure, all of that fun stuff we're going to be doing. And you can expect a lot of communication from us. You'll probably be annoyed. We're going to be bugging you every week with some new things that maybe you might want to need to know for the Spain program. All right, so now's your time. If you want to throw questions in the Q&A, you can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok. If you are asking, what is my day-to-day schedule going to be looking like? What is a day in the life of an auxiliar in Spain? Look on our Instagram. So we actually have our teachers take over our Instagram who are on the program right now, letting you know, this is what my Friday through Saturday looks like. This is what my Thursday through, and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in what the teachers are doing right now, I would definitely recommend to check out our Instagram, check out our TikTok, because they're the ones ultimately posting. All righty. So what kinds of questions do we have? Tess or Megan, if you'd like to read them, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so let's see here. One I'll have you answer, Gabby, is what is the difference in teaching experience between primary and secondary teaching?
So primary is if you are looking for, it'd be kind of equivalent to elementary school. If you're looking for the younger age group, secondary would be more of the middle school if you're looking for a little bit older.
Perfect. I'll answer this one real quick. Is the Spanish immersion program an option for the January start program? Unfortunately, right now it's not. So you can only do immersion if you start in the fall. And then let's see, this one says, what does the 2000 go to? I'm not quite sure what 2000
So I'm assuming they're referring to the program fee. If that's what you're referring to. So it's our communication. Yes. So our communication with our employers in Spain, finding you a school placement within the region of Madrid, that pre-departure assistance, like I mentioned. So we add our committed participants to a Canvas course of everything that's broken down into how to get your visa, how to live in Spain, what apps that you need to download prior to living in Spain, some things like that. And again, a pretty intensive online information and instructions before you go. International emergency assistance and your Spanish health insurance is included. on-site orientation with those cultural activities. You might go to a flamenco show, things like that. And then that ongoing support in Spain, like Tess had mentioned, our staff on site will always be there 24/7 if you need help.
Okay, I'll answer two quick visa questions. Can we come to Spain or Europe before our program start date? Europe, yes. Spain, it just depends on when your visa start date is listed as. If you enter Spain before your visa starts, you will need to exit Spain typically and then re-enter on your visa after it starts. And you have to not only exit Spain, but exit the Schengen area. So, like for example, a lot of participants will take a weekend trip to Morocco. So they'll enter Spain as a tourist before their visa starts, stay a little bit, do whatever, maybe take a weekend trip to Morocco, and then re-enter on their visa for teaching. So there's that one. And then the other one is, when do you recommend starting the visa process? That's a really great question. We are recommending earlier and earlier. The consulates are taking a pretty long time to process visas right now. It just depends on what term you go, but typically it's about, let's see, the latest you'll want to do it is about like 3 months before departure, we recommend. And the earliest you can do it is usually like 5 months before departure, typically. Does that sound right, Gabby? The earliest is 5 months, latest no later than 3 months, I would say.
Yeah, and this is also something that we break down for you, like day to day, month to month, what you should be doing. Once you have been accepted into the program, we'll be making sure that you're doing everything with the timeline. Let's see. Oh,
Go ahead. Gabby, this is a TEFL question. How does a $300 discount for TEFL factor into the total cost? Are there extra steps in the application to receive the discount? That's a good question.
yeah, good question. No, so if you are wanting to get started, wanting to get that $300 discount, I would advise email us at tefl@ciee.org, and then they can get you started. So yeah, no, if you're planning on teaching abroad, planning on starting a course within the next couple of months, yeah, definitely message us and then we'll get that on for your application. That $300 will come off that total TEFL fee.
Okay, perfect. Let's see here. We'll go back up. If I applied on February 1st, when can I expect to hear back about my application status? Another good question, because we had a lot of applications submitted recently. Oh,
Yeah, so sorry, I think you cut out once more. But I can see the question you're referring to. Yeah, so generally the timeline is about a 2 week turnaround since we just had this past deadline pass and we've had a lot of applicants. There's a lot of high volume. We're trying to stay within that 2 week turnaround, but it will be from the date that all of your application materials have been submitted. So if your letter of recommendation was submitted on, I don't know, February 8th or whatever it is, you can expect to hear back from us within that 2 week time frame. Again, we have a high volume of applicants, so we're trying to get through them as quickly as possible. So bear with us. But yeah, you should be hearing back from us pretty soon. And then I see Sophia's question, when is orientation? If we have prior commitments until mid-September, is it possible to fly to Madrid in late September? Definitely send us an email. If you have specific travel plans already, just shoot us an email and then we'll let you know kind of what we can do to schedule around that or what your timeline can look like. But yeah, totally okay.
all right. And then we have, for visa requirements, the consulate says I'll need proof of accommodation, such as a hotel apartment reservation for at least 3 months. Would an Airbnb reservation be valid? I think that's more probably a student visa you're looking at. I've never seen that for the auxiliary visa.
Yeah,
Gabby,
and
do you?
like we said, if for all things visa, we walk you through that entire process once you've been accepted into the program. And then, how many times can I renew our application? So you can renew on the specific visa that we will help you get through CIEE for 2 years within the region of Madrid. So a lot of applicants do it. A lot of people like to renew for that second year.
I'm going to type a few questions, Gabby, so I'll let you keep going here.
Yeah, go for it. Let's see. Again, for the visa requirements, a lot of people are looking on specific consulate pages, but again, for our specific visa that we're helping you with, we will break everything down for you. Can I start the visa process the moment I get accepted before the webinar and about the visa process? Yes. So if you receive an acceptance email, you'll receive next steps from us on what you should be doing in order to start the visa process. Is there a specific title for my letter of recommendation that used to be addressed to? No, you can put it to CIEE, to whom it may concern, either one of those. What is the acceptance rate? So if you follow all the eligibility requirements, and if you have uploaded all of the information on your application, your letter of recommendation checks out, your resume looks good, passport isn't going to expire, all of those things on your application, and you follow the eligibility requirements, the acceptance rate is quite high. Again, I recommend applying earlier rather than later because the program does tend to fill up because it's quite popular. When are placements offered? So placements, you will receive a proof of employment letter, like proof that you have a job in Spain during the spring, and then exact placements won't be until the summertime. So you'll need that proof of employment letter to retrieve your visa at the consulate, and that's what we provide you with early on. And then yes, you'll get your specific placement a little bit later on. Just confirming, fall 2 semesters means fall 2026 to spring 2027, right? Yes. So you would be arriving fall 2026, either in September or October, and then the program you can expect to be there until June 30th. What is the timeline for when acceptances are sent out? Like I mentioned, it should be within about right now, because of the high volume, maybe 2 to 3 weeks from the date that all of your application materials have been submitted, including that letter of recommendation. What dates is the 4-day hotel stay? So as of now, we have a couple different orientation dates in September, on the first week and the third week. So we have a couple different options. And then this is also something that we take a survey on later on for all of our accepted participants to see which date that might work better for them. Sorry, I'm trying to read through all the questions. If I get my visa by June, can I travel abroad to South America in July, assuming I get my passport by? Yeah, if you have any travel specific questions like this, send us an email. We'll be able to get you an answer, a personalized answer for your individual trip, and set up kind of a visa timeline for you as well and see if it's going to work, what's going to work best for your trip. So yeah, definitely just send us an email. Let's see. Can we get placed in the same school as friends? Yes, it's very possible. It's not guaranteed, but it's very possible that you will get placed with another CIE participant. If you're interested in getting placed at the same school as a friend that you know prior to the program, you can definitely make that as a preference on your application. So have your friend write your name on your application, and then you should write their name on your application. We do really well with trying to organize friends being placed in the same area. It's not guaranteed we'll be able to get you placed at the same school. We'll do our best. It's definitely happened, but for the most part, we have a high rate of being able to place friends together, family together, just so that you can kind of make accommodations together. What qualities have you seen in assistants who are especially successful in Madrid classrooms? I would say definitely a lot of flexibility and openness. So if you're willing to, jump in, go above and beyond in the classroom, make those activities, those games, those PowerPoints that you're doing for those students and making them really personalized and showcasing your personality. I think that is something that has been super successful in our past participants. Another, like I mentioned, that flexibility aspect. So you never know, maybe you'll show up and some class will get canceled. Maybe you'll show up and there'll be an extra lesson that they would like to see if you can, perform for those students. So flexibility is definitely a big one. Um, then yeah, can we get placed in the same school as friends? Like I mentioned, we'll do our best. If you have a specific friend you'd like to be placed with, make sure you put their name on your application. And then what month are we expected to get our school placements? Like I mentioned, you'll receive an employment letter in the spring and then your exact school placement later on in the summer. Let's see, I recently got accepted. It says a $500 that deposit on March 2nd. When is the rest of the fee due? As of now, the remaining balance is due on March 5th. Can I work outside of this program at a place like a cafe? So on the specific visa that you'll be on, you're not able to get another job tech. A lot of our participants, because you're not able to get a second job on this visa, a lot of people will tutor on the side, which is super easy to find tutoring opportunities. People find them through their school, through their teachers, through Facebook groups, through other friends that maybe have found too many tutoring opportunities. There's never a lack of opportunity for tutoring. In most cases, you'll probably run into too many people who would like you to give them English lessons, honestly. I'm trying to catch up. I don't know if my questions have loaded quite yet.
I can ask a few of them to you, Gabby.
That
Read them.
would be amazing.
So this one says, what is the general rate that teachers set for tutoring students, and does that change being TOEFL certified or not?
Oh, that's a perfect question. The general rate is about 15 to 30 euros an hour. That definitely can change. If you have more experience, you can charge more, like having a TOEFL certificate or an education degree. That tends to happen as well.
Perfect. And this person asks, if we renew for a second year, do we stay in the same region?
Yes, so if you're renewing for a second year, you would be staying at your same school.
Perfect. And does CIEE give more aux preference to what school they're placed in compared to programs like NALCAP?
More
This was from,
preference. Sorry, I'm waiting for
yeah, she
this.
said that she thought that
Uh,
school placements were random.
oh, no. So, like I mentioned, on your application, you'll see those placement preferences like school, age group, and specific areas within the region of Madrid. We do our best to match those. And like I mentioned, those preferences are queued in the order in which you've submitted your commitment deposit. So, if you're early in submitting that deposit, then the chances of you getting those placement preferences that you'd want are higher.
Okay, let's see. If I'm accepted, can I change my mind and join the 3-week immersion program and pay that fee?
Yep. So we are still accepting applicants for the immersion program. If this is something that you want to think about, you can always apply with the regular program and then add immersion on a little later within the next month or so. That is definitely an option.
Okay, this person says they missed the question on acceptance rates. If we submit before March 1st, it's just the placements that are first come, first serve, but acceptance to the program in general is still given equal weight.
So we're on rolling acceptance. So we've been accepting applicants since the end of December. So we accept them on a rolling basis.
So this would just depend on if the program fills up. But if you get all of your application materials by March 1st, then hopefully you'll be fine. Okay, any questions we still haven't answered, Gabby and Tess?
I see three, but mine seems a little delayed. Does anyone else see three or no?
Yes, okay, mine just loaded. Is there any sort of financial assistance for the program fee? So since this is a paid teaching position, there aren't on any scholarships for the CIE study abroad programs and things like that. They do offer scholarships for those, but since you are getting paid well in this program, we are not able to do that. How much is the TEFL fee with the discount? So it's $300 off the regular program fee of the $19.95. Last question I see is I heard from a past CIE language assistant about an end of year project at the end of the program. Would you be able to talk more about this? So this is, I'm assuming they're talking about the project that you might do if you're interested in renewing. And this is something that our on-site team will walk through with you, and we'll give you a lot more information once you get closer to arriving in Spain. But yeah, I think that's what you're referring to.
I think that's it.
Let's see. I don't see any others right now. Okay. Well, if you think of any more, obviously, don't hesitate to email us, teach@cie.org, teachinspain@cie.org. Any of your personalized questions, we'll be happy to answer anything. And then, like I mentioned, we'll be sending out this recording. But I appreciate you guys joining. And yeah, we will talk to you later. I'm sure you'll be hearing from us. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.